Excellent. We've got quite a few people on today's session, which is really great to see. So good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the final installment of the Adobe Tech Academy for 2020, where today we will be discussing journey orchestration and offer decisioning. I'm Kevin Evans, sales lead for Adobe Experience Platform, and today I'm joined by my colleagues Wouter Vengeloo and Steve Biss, both senior solutions consultants here at Adobe. Firstly, I'd like to convey our best wishes to all of you on the call today. We hope everyone's keeping safe and well in what's been an incredibly difficult and challenging year. The Adobe Tech Academy began the summer of 2020, and it was conceived not just as a free webinar series to present and discuss important trends, developments, and new technologies in digital marketing, but we also set out to build a community made up of our customers and partners to allow all of you to share your experiences and to learn from one another. So we're extremely pleased and grateful for the level of engagement we've seen throughout the year. If you've contributed, thank you very much. If you haven't yet, then we look forward to seeing you in the community soon. So today we have a packed 60-minute agenda. After this short introduction, we'll have about 40 minutes for the bulk of the presentation, where we'll discuss journey orchestration and next best offer decisioning. What is it? What's the business value? And we'll give you a product demonstration as well. Then we'll have about 10 minutes at the end for Q&A if all goes according to plan. And we'll also have a Q&A chat pod, more on that in a minute. If we run out of time and there's still some questions outstanding, then we're able to stay a bit later as well and answer those questions. So please feel free to stick around afterwards. So today's speakers, so Kevin Evans, I've introduced myself already. Wouter is our senior technical evangelist here at Adobe, and Steve is our senior solutions consultant also here at Adobe. Bit of housekeeping. So today's session will be 1 hour. We'll finish up at 12 noon. As I said, we'll stick around a bit later for questions. The session will be recorded, and we'll be sending out the link to everyone after this. So please do feel free to share the link with any colleagues who couldn't make it today. Please make use of the chat pod. We've got the Q&A chat pod there. Steve will be answering questions as we go. And also, as we go, please feel free to take screenshots. This is for you. This is a place for everyone to see what is happening with Adobe technology, but also trends in the industry as well. And so this information is very much catered for all of you. So please feel free to take screenshots, and we'll be sending a feedback survey at the end. And so let me just spend a couple of minutes setting the scene for what is journey orchestration and offers and why it's important. So when we talk about journey orchestration, what do we actually mean? Well, at its simplest, it's the move from a marketer-centric view of engaging with your customers, so channels and campaigns, to a customer-centric view. In other words, what does the customer need next? And the challenge with our historic channel-centric view has been that customers don't necessarily think in channels, and that moving them down the conversion funnel in an omni-channel world can be difficult. They want what they want, when they want it, and where they want it. And this doesn't always align with our historic channel-based approaches. So the question for all of us as marketers is, how can brands create a customer experience that feels like one seamless interaction that's personal to that customer, even if it's through multiple channels, and even if it's with different parts of your organization, from sales to onboarding to customer service. Moreover, simply being seamless and personal isn't enough. Timing is also crucial. According to our friends at Gartner, real-time offers can be up to 10 times more effective than traditional outbound campaigns. So how can brands intelligently calculate the best offer that ensures a conversion in that moment? So today we're very excited to show you Adobe's approach to these marketing opportunities. We'll demonstrate to you 2 exciting new capabilities within Adobe Experience Platform, which we call journey orchestration and offer decisioning. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Wouter to take us through that. Wouter, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So good morning to all of you. Today, as Kevin introduced, we'll be talking about journey orchestration and offer decisioning. But maybe let's focus first a bit on why that's important. And I think many of you that I've met in the past already are aware of this. And I think marketing in the last 10, 20 years has grown to becoming marketers shouting to customers about what marketers want to sell. And that's really not the right approach anymore. So we need to change that way of communicating with customers from shouting to listening. And listening means that you need to be able to collect and listen to your customers' behavior in real time in a cross-channel, cross-device environment, collect all that data onto the one single customer profile, and then do something meaningful with it. And that's something meaningful. Of course, we can still do things in a segment-based way, building segments of thousands of customers, and then using those segments to activate on channels like search and social and display and so on. But more and more, we are seeing this shift from segment-based retargeting to trigger-based retargeting. And that's really where journey orchestration fits in. Journey orchestration makes it possible to listen to incoming behavior in real time. And it allows you to build out a workflow that takes next steps. And those next steps can include multiple different elements. And of course, every attribute in a customer's profile can be used as part of that journey to further personalize it. And the goal is really to move from segments of thousands of customers all the way to a one-to-one relationship with your customer. And as such, every communication, every action, every message being sent should be unique to that one single unique customer. And that's really what journey orchestration together with offer decisioning will make possible. So let me quickly show you where to position this as part of Adobe Experience Platform. There we go. So we've done whiteboard in the past a lot in multiple of these sessions. The focus today is on offer decisioning. Offer decisioning makes it possible to, listen to an event that the customer takes and then decide on what to do next. So you'll have the ability to listen to that customer's behavior. And then based on that condition, you'll have the ability to define multiple paths in that journey. So step by step, you'll be building that journey. But how is that made possible? So from a technology perspective, a customer, for instance, is active on a website or is active on a mobile application, and data will be sent into our edge network. And that edge network is our real-time infrastructure of service, which listens to that behavior in real time, and then of course sends it into Adobe Experience Platform. We've seen this box before with AEP being in the center and then storing that data into the profile of Experience Platform. And then afterwards also in the data lake of AEP. But all of this is the platform at work. But now with journey orchestration and offer decisioning, you basically have the ability to build on top of that platform. So if I take, if I move my journey a bit out of the way. So on top of Experience Platform, you now have the ability to build out this one-to-one listening framework, journey orchestration, which then basically takes advantage of the profile inside Adobe Experience Platform. So everything that you have collected upfront inside Experience Platform becomes available automatically to journey orchestration. And one of the things that is really important to understand is that when you implement Adobe Experience Platform, you will implement these data flows from the website into Adobe Experience Platform once. You will also implement offline data like CRM and any other data source of your enterprise and ingest it into Adobe Experience Platform. And all of that is a one-off activity. You will implement those flows once, and then you will be populating, hydrating the profile. Then using something like journey orchestration or offer decisioning are basically checkboxes that need to be activated. So that we don't talk anymore about an implementation of a new application. It's really a checkbox which needs to be checked, and then automatically journey orchestration becomes provisioned in your instance and has access to the full profile and can start building these one-to-one journeys. The same thing happens with offer decisioning. That's this component that you simply add on top of Experience Platform. It's a checkbox which you activate, and then you have the ability to build out offers using all that data inside Experience Platform. And I think that the whole concept of what AEP is doing for you is to make it possible for you to do things just once. And that's something that we've seen in the past with multiple solutions, multiple silos in your organization. You basically don't have one single customer profile, but you have 10 or 15 customer profiles, depending on the number of solutions you have. And then every segment needs to be built 10 to 15 times in every solution individually. And step by step, it doesn't scale anymore. That's really, I think, most of you on the call today, that's your day-to-day job, is trying to see clarity into this siloed mess of segments and profiles and so on. With Platform, you have this one single environment whereby you build segments once, you build journeys once, and you have the ability to use data in those journeys, all by reading the same profile. So that's really a quick introduction on what you'll be seeing today, but let's make this a bit more tangible. Let's change screens. So we've got this demo website. Secure Financial is a fictitious finance brand. So we can do things like savings, investing, mortgage loan calculation, credit cards are also available on the website. And at this moment, I'm an unknown anonymous customer on the website. So of course, when I click through the website, while going to this credit card product, for instance, this behavior is collected on the website in real time. It is sent to Adobe Experience Platform in real time, and you'll see it pop up on my customer profile also in real time. So that's quite straightforward. We've seen this before in multiple other Tech Academy sessions, and data collection across the whole online, offline ecosystem is now real time and makes all the data available in an Experience Platform in real time. So you'll see things like identities. So my customer profile consists of multiple identities, and in this case, my ECID is the one that's available at the moment. And I'm already qualifying for a couple of segments in Experience Platform as well. So the whole basic implementation of AEP has been done. Segments are there, profile information is there, experience event data is there. And now we want to start listening to that behavior and doing something meaningful with it. So the first journey that I would like to take you through is a very simple one, a very basic one. And it's focused on the create account journey. So somebody who goes to the login page and fills out all of these variables, well, at that moment, they will create their account, and that data will become available inside Experience Platform as well. So by filling out this data, by clicking the Create Account button, I'm now sending a payload of information to Experience Platform, and you'll see that my customer profile will now populate as well. So just need to refresh. There we go. Voila. So my profile is there, and immediately by having my profile there, you can see that this offer on the homepage is now changing. So I'll go a bit more in details in a couple of minutes on the offer part itself. But this is a customer who just created their account. And that's an event which is worth listening to, which is worth using to defining a journey and doing something meaningful with it. So if I switch over to my Gmail inbox, you'll now see that I've received this thank you for signing up email, which is sent by Adobe Campaign. And of course, this email is the result of a journey which is built inside Adobe Experience Platform and Journey Orchestration. So So if I can quickly zoom in on that specific journey. So this is the journey orchestration user interface. And in there, we've got this account creation journey flow. And I told you it's a simplistic journey, but of course, we'll be building on top of that in the next couple of minutes. In this journey, we only have 3 steps, very simple. We have an event which triggers the journey, in this case, the account creation events. And then the next step is sending the email to the customer with all of the components and all of the dynamic variables in that email. So just quickly, let me zoom in on that event itself. So if we go to the events screen, I have the ability to create new events. And every event, well, identifies a unique type of activity. It makes it possible to listen to either rule-based events or system-generated events. That means you can basically build out a small query in this screen that listens to specific customer behavior on the website or a mobile application and so on. And from a parameter perspective, you need to define the schema used in Experience Platform, which will basically define what kind of data is available. So event name, the type is system generated, and then you select typically a schema. So in this case, let me focus on the website interactions schema. And by doing that, you'll see that automatically I have fields selected from Experience Platform and also the identity. So we're going to identify the customer using the ECID at this moment. So all of these things are quite technical, of course. You're in a tech academy, so that's why we go all the way deep to the configuration level. But you need this information to trigger the journey. You need to have the ability to define the identity, to understand what fields are available, and then that will make it possible to then use information as part of the journey afterwards. So if I click on the fields itself, you'll see all of this is the data being collected inside Experience Platform. So you have the ability to select things like product data, people who have gone to a product view, so that the product category of this specific event, the product name can be shared. And with this, any type of information that you ingest into Adobe Experience Platform will become available for this event. So if I take this account creation event as an example, you'll see that we're listening to the account creation schema, and we are identifying a customer in this case based on the email. So that will trigger the events. And as you see in the next part of the demonstrations, I'll go a bit deeper on geofence entry events and also add to cart events. But after the event comes the action. So the action is configured in this action overview. In this case, we'll be using the Adobe Campaign standards action. So if you have an Adobe Campaign environment, whether it's standard or classic, that doesn't really matter, but you have the ability to connect it to journey orchestration. And simply by, in this case, adding the URL of campaign standards, you'll have the ability to send email, send SMS, and push notifications using the Adobe Campaign product. But of course, you can define any kind of custom action as well. So you'll see as part of the next demonstration, we'll be sending SMSs with using Twilio. So basically, any kind of application that has a REST API endpoint can be used. And in this configuration window, you have the ability to set up the URL, the authentication, and the payload that you want to send to a specific endpoint. But a bit more on that in a couple of minutes. So with the event and the action done, let me go back to my journey. So inside the account creation journey, you'll see that the event doesn't really have any additional configuration. It just starts the journey and helps you identify which customer is going through the journey. And then inside the email components, you have the ability to select send email with Adobe Campaign and then the email message. So in order to show you all the details, let me create a new version. Then I'll be able to edit this. So when I open up this checkbox, you'll see all of the emails, all of the templates available in Adobe Campaign. And by selecting the template, then all of these dynamic fields, like the email address and the personalization data, are appearing in a list. So as a marketer, I can click this window. I can have a look in the schema and the data model of Experience Platform and select my email field as the one to use for sending the email. And of course, any of those fields has the same logic. You edit it, you have a look inside the data model of Experience Platform and of the events. So you can basically drill down to the profile level, to the person level, pick gender fields or the first name field and so on, all in a drag and drop way. So it makes the data model and the profile information of Experience Platform accessible in quite an easy flow. So that's more or less the first journey that I wanted to review with you, the account creation journey, which results in sending out personalized email. And of course, in this case, the content is quite basic. I'm just using the first name to personalize the content, but any type of information in my customer profile can be used to dynamically optimize the content of this email, but also by extension, the SMS, the push notification, and anything else, any other activity that could take place. So this is a basic introduction, but let's go a bit deeper. So in many cases, marketers, business departments want to contextualize communication a bit more and want to add information to that journey. And some of that information might be residing natively inside Adobe Experience Platform, but also at many situations, you need to retrieve information from an outside data source. So to think about this example of a geofence entry. So we have multiple retail customers, but also entertainment companies, football clubs, and so on amongst our customers. And they want to listen to a customer's presence in a specific location. So imagine I'm walking into your retail shop or in the perimeter around the retail shop, and you want to take that presence of that customer to do something personalized to that customer. So that's when we talk about the geofence entry. And it's not limited to geofencing, of course. We can also use beacons, iBeacons, and so on to detect a customer's presence in a location. And then an event will be sent from that mobile application into AEP, saying that this customer is now present in this specific location. So of course, if I take the example of a retail shop, if it's freezing outside and I'm walking into the retail shop, I'm probably not there to purchase swimming trunks. Or if the sun is shining and it's 35 degrees, I'm probably not walking into the shop to purchase a coat. So the context and in this case, the weather information is important, important contextual information that you should be taking into account as part of that journey as well. So to make that possible, inside Journey Orchestration, you can build up data sources which call out to external API endpoints. And in this case, we've implemented the weather API. So those who know that, there's an openweathermap.org service, which basically provides an API, which based on your location can then provide information about the weather back to you. So from within Journey Orchestration, that's really what we wanted to achieve. So we've set up this weather API endpoint, basically calling out to the API endpoint of the OpenWeatherMap instance. We have to authenticate using our own API keys, and all of these can be set up dynamically and with quite a lot of detail inside the data source itself. And then the field group is basically what kind of parameter you'll provide and what kind of response will be sent by the API. This configuration is one-off, and after that it becomes dynamic. So by specifying this dynamic value queue, which will be used for the city that I'm in, based on that city, we'll then get in real time the information back from the weather API, and then we'll be able to optimize the journey based on that response, all in real time. So that's a bit the context of this exercise, but of course the external data source capability can be used to connect journey orchestration to any kind of API endpoints. So for instance, we have a retail customer who is using journey orchestration and the external data source setup to connect to their internal stock system, to then to then retrieve the actual stock information at this moment for a specific product. And the logic there is that it doesn't make sense to advertise a product with SMS or push or even in-store display communication if the product itself isn't available in stock. So that's also an example of a data source which you can configure, which will be able to provide contextual information into the journey. So with the data source set up, and of course we also have events and actions configured. Let's have a look at the journey that we will be applying. This journey is listening to the geofence entry. And as you can see, there's a bit more activity in this journey. So with the event being triggered, at that moment, we're going to verify what the weather currently is in the location of that customer. So after the event, we've immediately added this condition. And in the condition settings, let me create a new version so I can show you all the details. So in the condition settings, we've defined 3 different paths. So if the temperature is below 10 degrees, the temperature is between 10 and 25 degrees, or the temperature is above 25 degrees. Those are the paths that we have defined. And the way of doing that is basically by creating an expression whereby we are consuming this data source, so the weather API that we have defined. We have the ability to collect, in this case, the field temperature from the API response. So simply by dragging and dropping this onto the journey and defining that it should be below or equal to 10 degrees, that's our expression of defining the temperature control. But then the dynamic value is the one coming from the event. So this is where my current city will be collected. And in a couple of minutes, I'll show you this in real life. I'm currently based in Waregem in Belgium, a very small city. But based on my location in Waregem, I'll then receive a message coming out of this journey. So based on the temperature, dynamically then I'll be put in a specific path in that journey. And then, of course, we'll do something meaningful with it. So we've decided to send an SMS message to the customer. We're not using Adobe Campaign here, simply to show you that it's possible to connect any kind of solution and not just Adobe solutions to journey orchestration. So in this case, Twilio will be used to send the SMS. And if I have a look at the details, so in the action parameters, I basically have to provide two values to Twilio. One is a text message, the content, of course, and the second one is a mobile phone number of the customer who should be receiving the message. So inside the message itself, we have the ability to combine string values simply by typing them, and then dragging and dropping dynamic values from Experience Platform. So on the left side, you've got this Experience Platform data source, which basically gives you access to all the data inside Experience Platform. And then it's really a matter of just navigating your way down the tree of the data model and picking up the values, like in this case, the first name, dragging and dropping it onto the message itself, and then continuing your configuration. It's really important to know that this can be extremely granular. So you can add individual product views. You can add logic that looks at the last product viewed or the last product added to the cart and so on. And as such, really adding additional context, additional detailed information. And if you remember what I said in the beginning of the session, the goal is to move away from segments of thousands of customers, which aren't really personalization, but more grouping of customers. If you want to move away from that big segment approach to one-to-one behavior, you need a solution that makes it possible to identify the customer individually and then decide on the fly what the content is that this customer should be seeing. And that's what journey orchestration makes possible. So by defining my text message and by looking at the mobile number of this customer, I'll be able to send a message to customer, in this case, Wouter, as soon as the location is identified. So if I go back to my demo website, I have the ability on my demo environment to simulate such a geofence event. So by going to this page, my browser is asking me about my location. No. There we go. So now the location has been detected along with my latitude and longitude and so on. So Waregem, Belgium. And when I click this send geofence event, at this moment, the event is triggered inside journey orchestration. And in a couple of seconds, I'll be receiving a text message which contains there we go. You can see the text message has just been delivered. So Wouter, it's freezing, 20% discount on jackets today. So that's the message coming from journey orchestration. All of this in real time after detecting a customer's presence in a specific location. So far, so good for journeys and listening to real-time behavior and responding to that in a personalized way. But now let's add the offers component to that journey. So of course, as a customer, I'm navigating the website, and every click, potentially qualifies me for a new type of offer, a new type of communication. And for that, I would like to show you a quick video to talk about those different topics, along with a demo of multiple customer journeys. So let me just share my screen again for the video. Every brand that I've spoken to in the last decade shares a common goal: to deliver one-to-one personalization that is intelligent, trigger-based, and always on across every channel. Brands need to move away from passive, human-built, rule-based segmentation and need to embrace new forms of intelligence that help scale personalization from segments of thousands of customers to a single, unique experience for every individual customer in an omni-channel way. At every moment of every day, thousands or even millions of customers interact with you and your brand. Every customer is different. Are you seeing the video or not?
I can see your whiteboard, Wouter.
Oh, this seems to be a technical issue. Sorry for that.
No problem.
Can you see it now?
I can see the plant and the green screen.
Let's have a look at a customer journey of an unknown customer at Secure Financial. Or make that 2 unknown customers, or maybe 3 or 4, or even several millions. Every customer is entitled to a unique experience. Every customer is unique, and every type of product interest and behavior is equally unique. If you want to deliver a unique experience to your customers, you need to start listening to that behavior. First, you need to listen and learn. Second, you need to act in real time. Your website and mobile application shouldn't be static properties anymore, but instead they should adapt. In your environment. So you could see multiple customers at the same time navigating the website. So all of these offers are constantly delivered in real time to customers. But how do you scale that? How do you manage this, and how do you make sure that that it's not just about data, but also connecting the data, the profile and the content elements to each other. So I'd like to break that down for you in the next part by showcasing you how these offers have been built inside Experience Platform and how eventually they are delivered onto the website, but also to SMS, through email and so on, all by taking into account the same single repository of offers with Experience Platform. So let me change my screen again to there we go. So we were looking at the journeys, but the offers component sits natively within the Experience Platform user interface. So as you can see, Experience Platform makes it possible to set up sources and destinations. Of course, you'll find customer profiles and everything you need to build segments and understand identity. Also in Platform, you've got the ability to define your privacy and data governance policies. Of course, data science has a key location in the whole workflow, as things like propensity to buy, churn risks, and so on are defined with native models inside Experience Platform. And then on the decisioning level, you basically have the ability to define offers and define activities. So the offers decision capability was released 2 weeks ago in general availability. So it's still quite fresh for many of our customers. But already today you have the ability to really go deep in terms of configuration and build out the offers itself. So if I take you through, let me take you through all the steps. So an offer itself has multiple components. So let me take this secure or this mortgage rates offer as an example. So when you create the offer, of course, you will give the offer a name. You'll give the offer a start date and end date as well. You have the ability to tag it to easily retrieve the offers afterwards in the user interface. But I think many of you have heard me and my colleagues talk about data and profile a lot. But this is the first time that you're starting to see the content component as well natively available inside Experience Platform. And that's really where we go beyond the typical CDP. A CDP in the market is basically an application that collects data, builds a customer profile using personal data, and then makes it possible to build segments and then take action on those segments by sending them somewhere else. That's, of course, something that Experience Platform can do as well. But the content component is crucial to experiences as well. And at this moment, a traditional CDP doesn't offer you any capability on that level, and basically pushes that to a different application, which is one more silo in your landscape. With Platform, that content component is now a native element in the workflow in Platform. And as you know, well, Adobe is like this company who has been investing the last 35 years, 38 years to be exact, in content creation, and just about every image, video out there is being created using Adobe technology. So what's currently happening in the background is that the whole content side of the business is also standardizing on top of Experience Platform. So basically in the next couple of months and years, you'll see us release much more content capability, which will all be focused on bringing content intelligence into Experience Platform and merging data, profile, and content onto one and the same environments, and no longer in 75 different silos in your organization. So when I click next, you'll see multiple representations. You'll see an assets library. So I think most of you will understand that this assets library will be connected is connected to Experience Manager, for instance. All of the content fragments that you would build out in Experience Manager, all of the images and so on, they will become available in the same assets library, from where you basically have the ability to click through and add it onto your representation. And these representations, we also call them placements. So they basically identify a specific location in a specific message. So of course, sending an email requires a placement for an email image. using personalization and delivering an image onto a hero page requires you to define a representation for a placement. And if you want to, for instance, send a text message or a push notification, you will need representations like this one for text, in which you can define a text fragment. So images, text, you can also add HTML components, JSON components, and everything that you're using today already from a content creation perspective will have its place inside this workflow. And then after selecting and defining the content elements, you basically have to define what are the constraints. So when should a specific offer be displayed? And you're seeing these decision rules, which are basically the same thing as segments in Experience Platform. So any segment can be used, and as such, as a marketer, you can still continue to build human rule-based segments to trigger your journeys. But you will see us release a real-time machine learning capability in the next 3 months, whereby we'll be using the output of a real-time machine learning model in real time on the edge to decide what kind of content the customer should be seeing. So what you're seeing now is the foundation, is the initial V1 of the product, but offer decisioning and the whole content integration is a crucial element of our roadmap, and you can expect multiple additional releases in the next months that will add value, add capability, and make it possible to step by step move away completely from the human rule-based segment approach towards a very dynamic machine learning inspired decisioning components. So details, representations, constraints, that's what you need to define an offer. And then of course, you need to define those offers and content for multiple elements of that offer experience. And well, those offers are then grouped inside a collection. So I've got my secure financial collection, which combines those 5 personalized offers, which will then be delivered through an activity. And this activity is basically the combination of everything that you've just seen. So in there, we'll decide that a specific activity runs from a specific start date to an end date. We have multiple placements again, for which we'll have these offers to display. We'll also define a fallback offer. So in the case that the customer doesn't qualify for any of these experiences, we will then deliver the fallback offer. And that combination, that configuration, then makes it possible to really start impacting delivery on a website. So that's one part of this is the configuration part. Then the delivery side, there's basically 3 components that you should take into account. If you look at launch and our tag management solution, it is tightly integrated with offer decisioning. So inside the launch configuration UI, you have the ability to define edge configurations. So my screen is loading. I'll show it to you in a minute. So inside the edge configuration setup, you have the ability to pick up your edge configuration. There we go. In that setup, you basically have the ability to look at Experience Platform. And then, of course, you have the ability to check this checkbox for offer decisioning. So that's what I meant before with checking a checkbox. By activating this checkbox, I'm basically making it possible that within this the launch property that will use this configuration, that offers will be delivered from the edge back to the website in real time. So you could see this on my website over here. As soon as the data on my customer profile was processed, this hero image banner was changing in real time. All of this because of the launch setup and the fact that launch and Web SDK understands the behavior of the customer. They look at the edge to understand the customer's profile and then decide on the fly in real time what content should be shown. And then in the response to that initial request from the website, we are already providing the content to show. So that's a latency that is below 100 milliseconds. So from a delivery perspective, that's extremely fast and makes it possible to personalize a website immediately, even for first page visits. Of course, your ecosystem is much bigger than just a website or just a mobile app. So looking at Experience Platform and the fact that it's an API first platform, all of these offers are also available through the API. So if you have, for instance, a call center or a point of sale environment and so on, the second that you identify the customer, you can query our APIs and you will retrieve the next best action, the next best experience for that customer in those channels as well. So we have multiple customers who are now implementing the call center use case, whereby when the customer calls the call center, the IVR system will detect the mobile phone number or the phone number of the customer. And then based on that phone number, the IVR system will send an API call to platform, retrieving the most recent information, but also retrieving the next best action coming from AEP. And then by the time the call center agent is speaking to the customer, they have on their screen the next best action that should be presented to that customer. And of course, the feedback loop is equally important. So if you deliver to a customer, then of course we need to receive either the rejection or the fact that the customer accepts the offer back into Experience Platform so that we can optimize the next journeys. And all of this is covered out of the box inside Experience Platform, whereby you've got data sets which will be used to collect that data coming back from the interactions. And then again, you can start to optimize the whole flow of offer delivery, offer optimization in an omni-channel way. So you can see in this decision events data set, that's where a customer who accepts or rejects an offer, that's where the interaction will be stored, and it will become part of the customer's profile for future optimization immediately. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, so many of you are sending emails and SMS messages on a daily basis or a weekly basis to customers. Typically, most brands do that also in isolation, whereby the email marketers, they only take into account the email channel, and typically that's quite disconnected from the full customer journey. So that's of course something that should change. So thanks to the integration between journey orchestration, Experience Platform, and offer decisioning, you basically have the ability to also retrieve what the offer should be from within that single customer journey. So in this case, I've got a very simplistic journey, which looks at an add to cart event, and that will be the trigger of my journey. But then I will be sending out an SMS, which contains information on the offer. So let me just quickly show you. So if I have a look at this integration, and of course the UI will be optimized in the next couple of weeks to make this even more user-friendly for a marketer. But from within this journey, I have the ability to specify a specific placement. So in this case, it would be the non-digital text message placements for the activity of secure financial and then for the container ID of that specific environment. And from within that one single journey, you would then have the ability to immediately decide that what the content of the message would be, using and taking into account the offers defined inside Experience Platform. And the same thing goes for the email use case, for the email action, whereby you have the ability to define an offer image and an offer text components, all of them coming from offer decisioning. And as such, the whole stream, the whole flow of delivering an offer to a customer across web, mobile, call center, point of sales, email, SMS, push is suddenly a very streamlined thing, whereby one single offer is at the basis of everything else. And as such, every customer will have a contextual experience, no matter which channel they are currently using. But that's really the introduction I wanted to give you to journey orchestration and offer decisioning. I hope it was clear to you, and let's have a look at the questions. Kevin, are there any questions which remain unanswered?
Thanks, Wouter. Let's have a look. So yeah, we've had quite a few questions from the team. So Steve is Steve has answered all of them, but maybe we can pick out one or two, just read out the question and the answer. So there were a couple of questions from partners actually asking about, is AEP available for partners? Are sandboxes available? So we'll obviously send through some information on that to any partners on the call who may not have access to the platform today. Our partners team will be able to assist with that. We have another question about, it's quite a good question. It's a big question. It's about how do we do personalization at scale? And obviously there's a lot of there's a lot to that question, as Steve said in his answer. But really that's what AEP is designed for, isn't it, Walter? You know, starting off with consolidating all the data for the customer, individual customers, being able to analyze that data, run data science on it, create an offer which is personalized again for that customer, and then delivering out the experience through journey orchestration on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, well, I think many marketers are secretly hoping that there will be a magical red button or blue button or whatever color you prefer, and then being able to push that button and then bang, everything happens in an automated way. That's not the case yet. I'm sure someday we'll get there. But today, if you want to scale personalization, what you need to have is basically one single location for data, profile, and content. That's where you need to start building towards. And only when you have that one single repository, that's when you'll have the ability to start scaling. And I'm seeing the update in the Q&A on the retailer perspective. So I understand that a retailer who has thousands and millions of products, they can't easily start building out segments for every individual product, and that makes sense. And that's where also journey orchestration is able to help. We have use cases for retailers. So like I was talking about the in-store display use case. Obviously, with COVID-19, not many people go into stores recently. But as soon as that will pick up again, you'll see this being deployed more and more in retailers, whereby you walk into the store, and of course they've got all of these displays across the whole store, which are currently showcasing a PowerPoint, which is well, rotating every couple of minutes and not personalizing anything at all. With Experience Platform and journey orchestration, we've actually built this integration already a couple of times, whereby the customer who walks into the store, based on their recent product interest, based on their propensity to buy specific products, using machine learning in the background, we will then dynamically populate those displays in the store, taking into account the huge product catalog of that brand. And that same kind of personalization is coming to Adobe Target as well next year, whereby you'll be able to move beyond the segment-based approach in Target, and instead you'll be able to use profile attributes from Experience Platform to then, in a very granular way, decide what kind of image, what kind of product should be shown. So those things will definitely help in optimizing the scalability of personalization for companies with lots of products.
Terrific. So we're getting close to the hour. So why don't we close down the call shortly? I've got a couple of closing comments to make. And then, as we said at the beginning, for anyone who's able to stick around past the hour, we're more than happy to stay online and answer questions as well. So let me just quickly share my screen. Oh, Walter, you need to unshare your screen.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Right. So hopefully everyone can see that. So first of all, thanks to all of you for joining us this morning to see our approach to one-to-one personalization at scale using journey orchestration and offer decisioning. And thanks also to Walter and Steve for the great job today. In terms of next steps then, we'll be sending out a feedback survey. We're very interested in your feedback on these events. Hopefully they're useful, but we really do appreciate your suggestions and your feedback so that we can make them better in the future. I'd like to call out a few resources for everyone. We have a section of the website, obviously, for AEP. So adobe.com/experience platform, and everything you'll ever want to know about AEP can be found there. And anything you can't find there, then you can get in touch with one of us, and my contact details are there at the bottom. We've also got a YouTube channel with loads of great videos. So if you've got a few hours spare over the Christmas break, maybe browse the channel. The Tech Academy recordings, this session and previous recordings, are also available on YouTube. Just search for Adobe Tech Academy. And then finally, we've got the Experience League, which is our online training portal. And this is also where the customer community lives. So it's a free resource for customers. You can go there and see training videos and content for any of the Adobe products, not just AEP, but anything from Photoshop to AEM to Acrobat. Customers are also engaging quite energetically on this portal as well. So customers can share experiences with them, with each other, and ask questions and so on. There's a couple of options for anybody wanting to get into AEP a bit more in depth. So we have what's called an inspiration session, which is an online workshop, a couple of hours long, where we take you through the product in a lot more detail. And then a hands-on lab goes even further. It's more of a half a day sort of experience where you get hands-on keyboard. So we have a lot of opportunities there for customers wanting to get more involved with the product. So with that, it only leaves me to say, to wish all of you a very happy festive season. And we really do appreciate you joining us today. We hope to see you again in 2021. And hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week. So I think with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and we can continue answering questions.
So if you have asked a question and it hasn't been answered yet, so we'll do that now. Just to echo Kevin's point, I want to quickly show you this. Everything that you've just seen from a demo perspective is also already documented on Experience League. So we'll be sure to include the links in the email after the event. But if you go onto this tutorial, you'll basically have the full technical detail on how to set up everything from the basics of offer decisioning all the way to building your own offers and activities, implementing it through Launch and Web SDK, testing your offer activity with the demo websites, API, and journey orchestration. So it's step-by-step documented. And this tutorial is available currently for Adobe internal people, but also in some way to customers and partners using the formats as described by Kevin with the hands-on labs and so on. That's really quite, I would say, useful to all of you. So from a question perspective, I see a question from Jente. Yes, we spoke about AEM and campaign. Of course, AEP is quite an open platform. So any email marketing solution can be connected to journey orchestration. We have done so with many of our lethal competitors already. So I think in general, and this goes for many of the questions that have been asked, the market is moving away from point solutions and looking at a platform and a single location to do all things just once. As such, the role of those solutions, point solutions, changes. So where Adobe Campaign and then by extension, Oracle or Salesforce or any other email solution being used, they were the 100% of the email brain. That is changing a lot towards a platform brain. And then those email solutions will basically be used to just deliver the email and maybe alter the email. But the content itself and who to send it to and what to send will be defined as part of a platform like Experience Platform. And as such, we can connect to Optimizely, we can connect to Selligent, and many more. Same thing with CMS solutions like Sitecore or others. They all have the ability to read our platform APIs. So all of the profile information on the edge can be collected by them as well, and they can use it to personalize the website just the same. It might require a bit of consulting on their side, but technically nothing was blocking them. Okay.
We have a question from Amir about, can Journey Orchestration sit on top of GCP BigQuery, or does the data have to sit within AEP?
Well, the data that is used, it's a bit of a double answer. Journey Orchestration can't connect, it doesn't have an out-of-the-box connector to GCP, but given that it has the support for external data sources, technically we can call out to a Google endpoint and retrieve information on the fly from GCP as well. So that's the openness of Journey Orchestration that makes that possible. At the same time, you do need to have some information around who the customer is, what their different identities are as part of AEP. Journey Orchestration is not intended to be a platform-less solution. So it will always require an Experience Platform to be purchased and implemented. But then if you have additional information on top of the profile in AEP that you want to bring in, that's what you can do with the Journey Orchestration data source option.
Right.
Yeah. And this question from the retailer perspective, so I definitely agree on the fact that it's a massive win to have this granular capability on product information. Also, commerce and the way customers buy is changing constantly. Imagine about the whole use cases on purchasing something end-to-end in Facebook Messenger, for instance. Even though the purchase would happen completely in a Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or WeChat environments, you still want that information to be available inside platform and attached to a customer profile. So for those companies, we have integrations with chatbot providers like StackChat, for instance, but also we've been working with Sprinkler and others, whereby we make it possible to retrieve that information from a conversation that happened on social media and ingest it in real time into AEP, attach it to a profile in AEP so that you know that a customer Wouter, who is typically not purchasing anything on the website, but they are purchasing things on Facebook or WeChat. And then you can take that transactional information from those social channels to optimize the whole communication strategy that you have with that customer. So we can bring in that data. That's really a growing segment of data sources, whereby you'll see many more released in the next couple of months.
Right. Yeah, that's a really interesting use case for the retail. Oh, we've got one more question come through from Nicholas.
Okay.
Nicholas says, you showed that assets live live inside AEP. Where does this place the AEM assets product? Good question.
That is a good question. And at this moment, I don't really have a full answer to that. The integration that you've seen with the assets is currently an alpha integration. So it's step by step coming to markets. I'm sure it will not be replacing a full DAM product. And instead it will be, I think it's what you've seen in the AEP UI is comparable to what we've always had on a core services layer inside AEP already, whereby you have a basic assets functionality without all the intelligent features that AEM assets did.
Walter, I think the sound is gone. We're not able to hear you, unfortunately. No, still not able to hear. Well, maybe this is a good opportunity to yes, there you are. You've come back.
Yeah, my wireless microphone battery has died. So sorry for that. So to Fernando's question, every data source in AEP can be used in Journey Orchestration. It's quite an easy setup as well, to be honest. I'm also able to show you if you want. So inside journey orchestration, inside data sources, well, the concept here of the experience platform data source isn't so much data set focused. It is focused on the union schema. So basically, all the data that you assign to the customer profile, either profile data or experience event data, will pop up in this list. So you can basically have the ability to define the schema. So in this case, maybe the experience event schema. And then in the fields, you basically have all the fields which are part of the data model inside AEP. So regardless of which data set it's being stored in, as soon as you add a data set to the unified profile, at that moment, this data will pop up in journey orchestration, and you'll be able to use it to personalize communications through journey orchestration to any destination.
Okay. Are there any other questions at this point? Okay, I don't see any more coming through. So once again, thank you to all of you for joining today. Thanks to you for sticking around afterwards for the questions. And we look forward to working with everyone in the coming year. Thank you to Walter, thank you to Steve, and everyone, please have a great day. We'll close the call down. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.